who's more afraid of monsters, your 2-year-old son Keelan or drivers on this Dover Monster Mile?
Well, ironically enough, it's probably my son, just for the fact that for whatever reason, anybody who's dressed in a dragon outfit like we were the other night at the Knights game, he's terrified of them. So these guys in the cars today, they're terrified of Miles the Monster and this racetrack as well, because this track will beat you up. And the more laps you run, the more times your head bounces off the headrest, the more times you go through those corners and bouncing off the seats, you get lower in the seat, kind of like I feel standing next to you. You get lower in that seat, and then the more you lean on that headrest, the more it vibrates. So this is a very, very taxing racetrack.
What you're saying is you have to be physically in shape and mentally in shape if you're going to be able to attack this place for 200 laps?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you have to relax. If you get tense at this particular racetrack, and it's easy to do, if you have those arms tense and those hands tense grabbing onto that steering wheel, you're going to be in trouble at halfway, and you're not going to know what you need to do because your car won't handle, because you can't really feel what's going on.
You know, it's so appropriate. This is the Buckle Up 200. And baby, you better buckle up here at Dover. And Kevin, you talk about how the track gets on your nerves, bouncing around in there. Plus, it's going to change dramatically. They've been hooking the bottom all day long, all through practice, and now it's going to be up top. How do you adjust for the grooves that will change?
Yeah, these guys had worst case scenario when it comes to practice time. They practiced in a really grippy racetrack. We've run hundreds of laps on this particular racetrack in a cup car and a truck race now. The grooves widened out, and you're looking for any hint of gray in that black rubber to gain some grip.
That means experience is king when it comes to racing here at Dover, Delaware. So I remind you of this. 18 of the last 19 Xfinity Series races won by a Sprint Cup driver coming to run on Saturday. But 13 times a driver here has gotten his first career victory. Which will play out today, we'll find out momentarily. First, we go trackside for the command.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome Master Corporal Daniel Salfas of the Delaware State Police.
All right, drivers, buckle up and start your engines!
The engines have fired here at the Monster Mile. We talk about drivers going for their first career win. Brian Scott, one of those. We're from the driver's seat with him next on Fox.
Conquering the Monster Mile is something I have not been able to do yet. I've only got 2 races here, but the third one's a charm, right?
I don't know. I guess being as much like Jimmy Johnson as you can be at this place, he's got it figured out.
In the truck race, we seemed to have it conquered for a while. We were in the lead, but on 2 tires, so it just kind of fell off at the end.
If you get your car to turn good and have good forward bite off, you have a great chance of conquering Miles the Monster here at the racetrack.
Drivers going to earn their money today. Dover International Speedway is one tough track, and one guy trying to get it done for the first time in his career, Brian Scott, starting 5th this afternoon.
What do you say we hop on board that Chevrolet and ask him how he's doing today? Hey, Brian Scott, it's Michael Waltrip and Kevin Harvick up in the Fox booth. Do you copy us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
6 years ago today, you went to Victory Lane on this monster mile in a pickup truck. Can you do it again today in your car?
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was 6 years ago. It doesn't feel like that long ago. I still got great memories from that Camping World Truck Series race. I feel really good about our chances here in this Acme Craft Single Chevrolet today. I was happy with the car in qualifying. This track is going to keep taking rubber and get hot and slick, so you're going to have to handle and drive your butt off.
Hey, Brian, this is Kevin Harvick. You know, my biggest question is you guys practice in a little bit different conditions. You have rubber all over the racetrack now. What are you expecting as you go into this race to have to do to move up and down the racetrack?
I've always had success here at Dover by adjusting my lines and my driving style. And then, of course, trying to give the crew good information to tune on this car. I think that the groove's going to move around. I think that the track's going to be hot and slick. You know, restarts are always really critical, and when we take the green on restarts, we normally pick some of the rubber up. So the car handles a little differently, but in the long run, dark rubber, it's going to be slick, and we normally have a couple long runs here, so I think the long run's going to be important.
All right, buddy, pull them tight and have fun. We'll be watching.
Thanks, guys.
Qualifying earlier today here at Dover, top of your screen, our Castrol GTX Magnatech starting grid. And as you watch where your favorite driver rolls off, we hear from our pit reporters one more time before we go green. We start off with Chris Neville. Hey, Chris.
Well, Adam, it's going to be a great day here, and Matt Kenseth behind the wheel of the 20 car for the third time this year. And talking to his crew chief, Mike Wheeler, he said these are some of his favorite weekends with Matt behind the wheel. His feedback's so good. He takes a decent car and quickly makes it good, and a car that's good and finally makes it a winner. And he said that's going to be key today. As hot as this racetrack is, and as much as the conditions are going to change, that feedback so important. Vince?
Last year, Chase Elliott came into this event 28 points behind in the championship. Of course, he went on to win the title and become NASCAR's youngest national champion. Well, today he comes back to Dover in exactly the same position, 28 points behind in the championship race. The 9 team hasn't been its best yet this weekend, but they know what it takes to get better and to be a champion. We'll see if they can do it yet today. Jamie Little?
Well, for the second time in his career and the second time right here at Dover, Bubba Wallace is on the pole. I just talked to him before he got in his race car, and he said the key to recording his first career victory today lies in the hands of his pit crew. They've struggled the last couple of weeks, lost him spots on pit road. He said if they can bring their A game, keep me up front, today could be Bubba's day. Adam?
You just can't make mistakes, Jamie, if you're going to go to Victory Lane at a place like Dover. Speaking of mistakes, let's go down the penalty road. Hear from NASCAR on Fox Rules analyst Andy Petrie. What are we watching for today, Andy?
Well, Adam, we'll watch this pit road here at Dover. It's one of the probably the narrowest and the trickiest pit roads to get onto. We saw a lot of penalties here last year in both the races, 13 of them in total. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see a penalty, a speeding penalty on pit road for one of these drivers that could impact their chances to win today. So the guys have got to be on their toes and make sure that they don't speed, because they come off the track running basically 150 miles an hour. They're coming down to 35 miles an hour. If they go faster than that, they'll get busted.
Kevin, can you explain how difficult that is to get that car woed up and down to 35?
Yeah, and really caution flags. It doesn't even have to be a green flag pit stops. Really, a caution flag is hard here just for the fact that pit road speed is just slower, and you're running so fast here. So it's slower than what you're used to. The RPMs are lower because you lower them for the restarts here because it's easy to spin the tires. So you're going to wind up running 36, 3,700 on pit road where you're used to running 45, 4,600.
Aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear, proudly supporting our military for 100 years. Show your support for our troops at Goodyear.com. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. So the 1 to go signal has been handed out to these drivers, and they're all going around the track behind our Toyota Camry pace car, the 2015 model, looking good. And the numbers for today's event: 89 degrees, 114 track temp, 200 laps, 200 miles, and Andy talked about it, 35 miles per hour down the pit lane. Darrell Wallace Jr. on pole for the second time in his career.
Appreciate the effort all weekend long. This is a good chance for us to get our first one, first of many. Wouldn't want anybody else to work on my stuff, so appreciate it. Let's go get it. Thanks.
Gorgeous Saturday afternoon in Dover, Delaware. 12th race of 2015 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Wallace on the pole chooses the outside lane for the start.
That's because it's so difficult to run on the inside lane with a car to your high side. Bubba thinks he can get the jump, get down to turn 1. We've talked about the groove has widened out. We're going to see some side-by-side, even 3-wide racing, Adam.
I tell you, this is some of the toughest part of the day is just getting going on the restart. So looking forward to watching a good race with you boys today.
Got to find your rhythm early. Inside lane, the teammate, Chris Buescher, green flag in the air. Wallace gets the early jump.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't a good start for Chris Buescher there, but Wallace is where he wants to be, and this clean air up front at Dover is key. So all those guys that qualified well are in good hands right now.
Side-by-side battle for second. That's Daniel Suarez, another rookie in that outside lane. Orange 18, a little slip there for Buescher coming off of turn 4.
Just really difficult, Adam, to hold that bottom groove. Buescher found that out. He's able to fall in line in 3rd spot, just ahead of Eric Jones in that really fast Toyota, the 54 car.
Yeah, and you can see all the grooves in the racetrack in the rubber right now, and that's just from the cars driving around the racetrack, picking that rubber up. And I think as you go through the day today, you'll see these hot tires. These guys only have a limited amount of tires that they can choose from, and until they get that rubber laid back all the way across the racetrack, it's going to be slick.
39, Ryan Sieg goes around a couple of laps in. Looks like it'll be a single car incident. Sieg able to keep it off the wall. First caution of the day comes out 2 laps complete. Sieg running in the 22nd position.
Yeah, they were right in the middle of the pack, Adam, and there are 2 or 3 cars involved in this. See what starts it. Sieg dives to the bottom of Jamie Dick going into the turn, clips him.
Boy, that's a nice save by the 55.
Yeah, that was a heck of a save. And remember, Kevin, I mean, why am I reminding you? You were just doing it. Into the corner to 165 miles an hour and somebody hooks you?
Yeah, and it's hard on the starts because when they start jamming up like that, that was just a good old traffic jam right there.
Just remember how fast you're going out there.
Just underway here at Dover. First caution of the afternoon. The man that started on the poles led every lap. It's Wallace, Suarez, Chris Buescher, Eric Jones, Matt Kenseth. The top 5 were live from the Monster Mile on Fox. NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Dover on Fox is sponsored by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of NASCAR, and by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Under caution for the first time today, Ryan Sieg, the reason why. Let's go back to the start of the race. Darrell Wallace Jr. in that outside lane.
Yeah, and Darrell really just picked the pace up. It's kind of, the leader's option, especially on the initial start. You pick up the pace a little bit. He didn't want to spin the tires. But as you go through the day, you're going to have to be in that restart zone that's very short here.
Now, the spin was awesome. We saw a great save by Jamie Dick, but you want to see what started all this. This is in turn 2 the lap before. Dick gets into the back of the 39 car of Ryan Sieg. Ryan didn't take too kindly to that.
Yeah, and then he went in to just try to return the favor, and then he checked up thinking he was going to spin out and got himself spun out.
Jamie Dick going to restart in the 23rd position. Ryan Sieg scored 39th. We go back green, completing lap 6. Once again, Wallace in the outside lane.
A good start by Bubba, but Daniel Suarez is able to hang with him on the inside.
Eric Jones trying to make that outside lane work on the restart in that black 54.
And that's one thing that usually works really well here for about 2 laps is that outside lane, because usually the groove is cleaned up a little bit more. But when you see the leader jump out and get on the bottom, and these cars are a little bit slower than the Cup cars, they want to be right on the bottom as much as they can if you're going to win the race.
Austin Dillon moving up nicely in the early going. Not many green flag laps. That 33 car has gone from 8th to 4th, fresh off a victory last week at Charlotte.
Well, talk in the garage areas, if you're going to win this race, you're going to have to beat Austin Dillon. He had the fastest car in the short haul yesterday and in the long run as well. So people have got their eye on this 33 Chevy, and he's closing in on the Toyota of Eric Jones for that 3rd spot.
Casey Kane getting out of line, that red and orange 88. See him inside of Brendan Gaughan here. This has got to be an uncomfortable position.
Well, it's just so hard to complete a pass here, especially when the cars are fresh tires and they're all handling pretty good. It's so hard to complete that pass, and you have to do it through the center of the corner. And this is a unique racetrack where you have to go back to the throttle and almost jam it through the center of the corner to just inch forward on the guy on the outside.
And the guy on the outside is Brendan Gaughan, and he loves the outside. If there's a groove up there, he's going to find it. And he was able to hang side by side with Kane there for a lap. But you can tell when he exits the corner on the low side, he pushes. The car won't turn. He can't stay in the gas. And Casey dives right to the bottom trying to grab that spot back.
Look at this mess. You got Cale Conley in that yellow and black 14 inside of him. The guy that won at Daytona, that's Ryan Reed. On board here with another Dover first-timer, Brennan Poole.
I see a lot of guys who haven't hit that wall yet at Dover right here. Because usually if you don't sort things out, it's going to get into an accident pretty quick.
Battle for position.
Matt Kenseth dives to the bottom of Chris Buescher, and that was just a run off the corner. They were side by side in the middle of the straightaway, and Matt just did a nice job of hanging it in there.
Joey Gase had that career best top 5 run at Talladega a few weeks ago, but smoking is the 52. Back to the battle for 5th. Outside lane, the red 60, red and black 60 of Chris Buescher came in leading the championship by 4 points. Going to give up a spot here. Kenseth gets by. Next in line, the 7 of Regan Smith.
You know, you talk how hard it is to complete a pass. Matt completed it on entry. He dove in hard. He did the slide job, slid up. But that's sort of evidence of how hard it is to make that pass. When you get a chance, you got to pounce.
Yeah, you definitely have to take advantage of every situation that you can.
Championship leader started on the front row. Right now, Buescher 6th, Vince.
Well, it's been a tough start for him because both times he started to start the race and then on that restart on the inside lane, and he lost positions both times. And then you saw him lose the position to Matt Kenseth on that pass. Kenseth has been one of the stronger cars all weekend. So definitely a tough start out of Chris Buescher, but he hasn't complained about the car at this point. So just chalk it up to a difficult position on those restarts.
How lane sensitive is Dover when you talk about restarts?
Well, I think it just depends on how much rubber gets picked up on the restarts. But the more laps that these guys run, the darker that black groove will get. And then under caution, the more they will pick up. And then it becomes really, really slick. And there'll be huge chunks of rubber that come out of the backs of these cars when they don't come in for new tires on the restarts, because the cars just immediately pick them up when they're hot.
Now keep in mind this. There are 4 drivers here today eligible for the Dash for Cash. The best of those takes home $100,000 and gets an automatic advance to Indianapolis to do the same there. Run for $100,000. Two of the guys on that list running 1-2, the rookies. Darrell Wallace Jr., who leads from the pole, and right behind him, Daniel Suarez, who is not letting him get away.
I love that kid. He just has done such an amazing job getting up to speed in that 18 car, whether it's a car or a truck. He's been fast everywhere he goes. And remember, on the concrete at Bristol, he battled to a second-place finish up there. So obviously, he likes this surface. And early on, he's just as strong as our leader, Bubba Wallace.
Confidence appears to be high, Jamie.
And that is the case with the 54. Eric Jones already made up 3 positions, and under that last caution, he told his team it's not going to be that bad passing. I can already tell. He's happy with the car, a touch tight, but confident.
And I look at the guys running second and third. A lot of track time this weekend. Both of them competing yesterday in the Camping World Truck Series. First opportunity to race here. They finished second and third, just like they run here. That added track time for a young driver has got to be huge.
Yeah, because in my opinion, this is just like a lot of the rhythm type racetracks. You have to have that rhythm. You have to be used to the bumps and going into turn 3 and turn 1. They're different types of bumps, but there's a lot of bumps and a lot of things that you have to get used to in order to get in a good rhythm.
Look at that run that Suarez got off to. Pushed up a little bit late, but that's a really fast car. And you know, we talked at the top of the show about the battle between the Sprint Cup drivers and the Xfinity guys. Early on, give the edge to the Xfinity guys. They're taking it to the Cup boys.
They are, and that's good. And I tell you, Dover is just one of those racetracks where the young guys come in here pumped up and they're driving hard. And Dover takes aggressive driving. You have to be aggressive and you have to do it every lap. But the thing I like about that 18 car right now is it'll ride right around the bottom. And you see the 6 car starting to get that little diamond through the center of the corner. And I think as the race goes on, I think that bottom's going to pay off grinding away.
And so you don't think that diamonding the corner will get the job done, because a guy like maybe Austin Dillon, and we saw Suarez eating around, just using the throttle and easing around the bottom of the racetrack. You prefer that groove, huh?
Well, I think that usually is what wins the race. I think as you go through the day, I think the grooves you're going to be able to run around, but these cars are a little bit slower than the Cup cars and aren't able to move around as much. So I think the bottom is going to be the place to be.
Maybe a little loose for the 54 here?
Yeah, already a little bit sideways when Austin Dillon gets there, and that just adds to his problems. He just pushes the air against the back of the 54 car of Eric Jones and got him even looser yet.
So Eric Jones has drifted back to the 4th position. Austin Dillon on the move early. He's the biggest gainer from 8th to 3rd. Your race leader, Darrell Wallace Jr. He's been out front for all 21 laps. But Daniel Suarez right in his hip pocket running 2nd. You're watching NASCAR on Fox live from the Monster Mile. 28 laps in at Dover. It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series, sponsored by Castrol GTX Magnatech. And now our Ford EcoBoost Track Facts. Ford has won 4 of the last 8 Dover races in the NASCAR Xfinity Series and 1 of 6 active tracks on the original Xfinity schedule, dating back to 1982. Been racing here a long time. Today, the 63rd race for Xfinity teams at the Monster Mile, and we've got a pretty good battle at the front. A Ford out front, but right behind him, strong is Daniel Suarez and Austin Dillon starting to rally again.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a new leader here before long, because that 6 car just keeps getting further and further up the racetrack, and he's putting a lot of effort into making his car go fast.
And you know, you talked about diamonding the corner. That's when he runs in low, slides up in the middle, and then cuts across the bottom on exit. What he's doing is, if Suarez can get there, which he's about a car length away from that now, is when he opens that door in the middle, Daniel can slip into that hole. So I like what you're saying. Look at Suarez really gain through the middle.
And the other thing is, too, when that car goes up the racetrack of Darrell Wallace's, it helps the 18 car because he can get that air on the front of the car, and it really plants that left front. So he's got it all going for him. He can run the bottom, and he's getting more air on his car. So unless Darrell moves down.
Matt Kenseth came into this race one of the pre-race favorites, scored in the top 5, unscheduled stop here. What's the story, Chris?
Adam, Matt Kenseth very frustrated right now. He says we've got a loose wheel. It sounds like it's possibly the left front wheel, but he said the car is loose in and loose off the corner, but very frustrated on the radio to the crew saying, guys, someone left the wheel loose.
And we're not even halfway through a cycle here, so this could be really, really tough unless we get a caution real quick.
Well, and it doesn't make a lot of sense because that was his tires they started the race on, torqued, I'm sure, before qualifying. So that's unusual, to say the least.
Yeah, because normally before the race they take a torque wrench, they torque all the wheels and make it happen, make it so all the wheels are tight.
Look at there. Austin Dillon around Daniel Suarez.
Yeah, Daniel got up the racetrack a little bit, made a little bit of mistake, and Austin was right there to capitalize. And like you said earlier, you got to be right on it to capitalize on the situation.
Here's a look at Eric Jones riding 4th right now.
We're so loose, but we're tight at the same time. We're getting tight late center, and I'm scared to death that if we tighten up, we're going to get too tight, you know?
That's a challenge. You want to get some grip on the exit, but then you want to be like Daniel Suarez and cut that middle. So he's balancing all that information in his own mind and trying to articulate it to the team. Basically, he's saying, I don't know what to do.
And that's very, very common here. As you run around Dover and you run through the race, the front end starts pushing, and then you step on the throttle, and then the back snaps out. So that's a tough situation to fix.
I think this team, though, has come a long way since the beginning of the year, this 54 group. A lot of changes over there, but you know what? Got that big, got a top 5 finish last week. Denny Hamlin finished in the 2nd position. Eric Jones, a couple of top 5s. Their program has really come together.
Yeah, and I think when you look here, I mean, you see him working the wheel pretty hard, but as he comes up out of the corner, you'll see him raise up, and then you'll see how rough this racetrack is as he goes into the corner. He's going to run way down the racetrack and slam into the ground. But as he goes down the backstretch, you'll really see how rough it is going into turn 3.
We were trying to explain to people earlier about landing in the corner. And if you're sitting at home on your couch, you're like, well, when did he take off? I didn't see it. But that's literally what it feels like when you're going down the straightaway and take that left turn. It feels like the bottom drops out from underneath you. And then you slam into those big high banks. It's quite a thrill ride.
And we did get confirmation. Left rear was loose on the 20 of Matt Kenseth. He has returned to the racetrack. 1 lap down in the 31st position. It continues to be Darrell Wallace Jr. out front of Dover.
No,
NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Dover on Fox is sponsored by Ford F-150. Introducing the all-new Ford F-150, the future of tough. And by Cialis. So the rumors in the Xfinity Series garage this morning are true. Austin Dillon does have a fast race car. He's taken over the top spot.
Those weren't rumors.
They weren't rumors. Those were facts.
Those
okay.
were facts. And he was here to prove it, too. Got his nose down to the inside of Bubba Wallace like Kevin talked about, and it just opened up the door.
Yeah, and I tell you what, that car has just been awesome all year, and they are capitalizing on him week after week. So we talked about the car on the bottom that's going to be able to take the lead is going to be on the bottom, and his car is just sticking right on the bottom, and he's able to gas that throttle up through the center and make it stick.
And how good is their program right now? You think about what Austin did earlier this year, Las Vegas, leading 183 of 200 laps, winning in Sin City, first win of the year. And then last week at Charlotte, just owned them, 163 laps out front, strong this weekend, practice qualifying, and here they are in the race, taking an early advantage.
But what I love about these Xfinity races, he couldn't get away from anybody. At Vegas, you talked about his dominating performance. Sideways, Ryan Blaney was trying to pass him coming to the checkered flag. And then at Charlotte, Denny Hamlin and the boys put him back in 5th or 6th place on a late restart, roughed him up, got him buried back in the pack a bit. But just to prove how strong that car is, he rallied and took the victory.
So Austin Dillon out front, Darrell Wallace Jr. a second behind, 2.5 seconds back of the leader, rookie Daniel Suarez, Vince.
Well, the issue for Suarez right now, the car's just a little bit too loose on entry, and then he can't get back to the throttle because of the tightness in the car. But the spotter, Chris Osborne, reminding him, just be patient. We're a long way away from where we need to be at the end. Just keep hitting your marks. You're doing a really nice job. Osborne playing the role of cheerleader, and he's obviously got something to cheer. Suarez pretty strong here in the early going, trying to hold off Eric Jones.
And I'm guessing on a long, hot afternoon, track like Dover that's so mentally intense, you need a little bit of a cheerleader, huh?
Yeah, you definitely need somebody to cheer you on, that's for sure, because it will just keep beating you and keep beating you. And the longer this run goes on, the worse the cars are going to handle, and the more you have to keep talking to the driver, because we're 50 laps into a green flag run here. The cars are starting to not turn as good. They're starting to bounce, and you're just in there going, man, I need a caution.
We heard early in the going Eric Jones talking about how evil his car was, pushing loose. Well, he's been able to manage it. In fact, he's closed in on 3rd place running Daniel Suarez. So we've seen from Eric Jones him talking to his crew chief, Chris Gale, and asking for the right adjustments. When these guys come to pit road, it'll be interesting to see what the rookie just ahead of him, Daniel Suarez, how he was able to work with his crew chief and make the adjustments. We know Nick Harrison and Austin Dillon have an awesome relationship, so that's going to be fun for me to watch. Who makes the right adjustments and who can close ground on the 33?
And likely, if it stays green, sometime around lap 80 is when we'll see these drivers on the pit lane for the first time. In lap traffic is leader Austin Dillon trying to get around the 4 of Ross Chastain, who scored 17th. Jamie?
Well, it only took him 42 laps, but Austin Dillon went 8th to 1st. At the start of the race, he said, well, hopefully our tight condition and qualifying will benefit us in the race, and that's exactly what's happening. Since the race started, the only thing he said is, the car is good.
It looks great to me. After Darrell Wallace Jr. led the first 41, Austin Dillon has led the last 12, 53 complete here in Dover, Delaware. NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Dover on Fox is sponsored by Hisense. Hisense, life reimagined. 57 of 200 laps complete in the Buckle Up 200 presented by Click It or Ticket. We're live in Dover, Delaware, 12th race of the year for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Under caution for the second time today, Austin Dillon, the race leader. Darrell Wallace Jr. is second. Daniel Suarez is third. Eric Jones, Regan Smith complete the top 5, and pit stops are on the way.
Yeah, and right now you're just thinking, don't get your car tore up, because it seems like so many times you see everything get congested and they start running into each other. And next thing you know, you have a nose caved in or a side caved in or something wrong. So this is an easy place, and you got to pay attention so you don't get tore up.
What a tough pit road this is. Everything is just multiplied here because it's so small. We got the speeds down to 35, but you can still tear the heck out of your car at 35.
Debris in turn 3, the reason for the caution. Pit stops will happen at lap 58. Chris Neville, they're heading your way.
Yeah, and Regan Smith hitting his first pit box here on pit lane. He's had a good run, 10th up to 5th. He's saying that car a little bit too loose. He says he's just abusing that right rear too much. Vince.
The 18 of Daniel Suarez coming in, upper left-hand portion of your screen. He's going to have a clear entry into his pit box. They reminded him about the speed. Daniel says, I just have no grip. I need some help. They're going to help him. Jamie?
Well, this should be a quick and easy stop for the 33. Car is good. A 4-tire stop. Eric Jones, he said he needed some help. There was the chassis adjustment, a track bar adjustment, 4 tires. Meanwhile, Darrell Wallace Jr., Art Polsitter, said he was sliding all around. They wanted to make a wedge adjustment. There it is. 4-tire stop for the 6th in the #1 spot, and he gives it up to the 54.
The race off pit road won by Eric Jones. Things just about got physical exiting the pit lane. Wallace stays second. The race leader, Austin Dillon, dropping from 1st to 3rd. We reset the running order when we return to Dover.
54 will be left.
Getting ready for the restart here at Dover. Second caution of the day. Free pass here under this caution. goes to 17th place running Ross Chastain. Matt Kenseth, who has scored 18th, took the wave around. He will get back on the lead lap after making an unscheduled pit stop at lap 32. Green flag, lap 61. Eric Jones, the race leader. Restarts outside lane. Darrell Wallace Jr. to the inside. Here we go at Dover.
Nice even start. Kevin, you talked about that initial start. Maybe better clean it up for the ones after that, and they've certainly done that. Jones gets a bit of a jump, but Bubba fights back hard on the inside. He's got to be careful not to get loose down there.
Yeah, you definitely have to tiptoe, because right now that groove is really clean, and then you have some dirty parts on the bottom and the top, and that rubber starts to sling around. But on new tires, it'll be a little bit better than what it will be when you have a short caution.
Austin Dillon settles in third. Wallace in line in second as Jones able to clear out front. That's Regan Smith in fourth. Good start to the day for him, 10th to 4th. And now a battle for position. Ryan Blaney on the move in that 22 car. And problems for Blake Cook in the 8.
Looked like maybe he scrubbed the outside wall. Got a couple of cars to clear, and he can get to the bottom.
I wish I could explain to everybody at home how hard these restarts are when that rubber starts going around. Oh man.
That's a crash.
There goes Brian Scott hard into the wall. Third caution of the day.
Get in under the 22.
Oh!
I've seen it. Gonna be on the hook.
Wow. Scott sliding down the racetrack and pounded by the 55 of Jamie Dick.
Yeah, and that's just a classic situation of what we've been talking about all day. You get underneath that car and it gets in the corner and it gets loose, and you have to run it up the racetrack to save it. And unfortunately for Brian, in the 22 and the 55, caused a big wreck.
They were racing for 8th, and we were on board with Scott, and you could just tell that
both window nets are down, and that's a good sign, because when you hit at Dover, it is always hard.
looking forward to chatting with Brian throughout the day, and it's disappointing. This is a track that he loves. We talked about that Truck Series win and how fast and competitive he is here at Dover.
It's big for the 22 team. 31 consecutive top 10 finishes for them, dating to Michigan last year. That's the last time they finished outside the top 10. 10th last week at Charlotte. Ryan Blaney, a big hit, and he's on pit road, and Ryan Scott climbing from his car.
It's going to be the end of that streak. That car's tore up pretty good.
Yeah, it looked like the rear end housing was bent back a bit. Let's see if we can take a look from outside the cars. We could tell inside it wasn't going to be good, and you can see Blaney on the bottom. Gets a little bit loose on the exit. It gives Brian Scott the inside.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't really know what happened there, but they made contact before they got to the corner. It's like the 22 came down a little bit and got into the side of the 2, but that started for the 22 in turn 4 when he touched the apron. And when he touched the apron right there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't really tell what looked like maybe the 22 just went to turn in the normal corner, and Brian was still going straight a bit.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like the 22 came down and got into the side of the 2, and that just caused that whole mess. Then you have Jamie Dick coming in there, and it's so hard to get stopped when you're going this fast.
Well, we talk about Dover being a self-cleaning racetrack, and with that banking, when you're up high, you're going to slide down low, and with oncoming traffic, as you said, there's just nothing you can do.
It's just, you know, it looks like you could change directions and miss people, but you just simply can't. I think back to Bristol and how tough it is to get slowed down and stopped. You're one of the greatest race car drivers in the world. You couldn't quite make that move. It's nearly impossible at times to just abruptly change directions when you're running 150 down into a corner.
How bad is it on the 22 of Ryan Blaney, Vince?
Well, it is bad. The truck arm broke. They're headed to the garage. They've also got a left side track bar mount that's broken. So he is just making a lap around to the track just to make an entry into the garage. They got to fix it back behind the wall.
Talked about their 31 consecutive top 10s. Last 2 years won the Owners' Championship. Tough break early for Team Penske at Dover.
I don't know what he was doing. He just doored us into one. Yeah, he arced into you, got you pretty good, then he got sideways and turned right into you.
Frustration for Ryan Blaney. Started on the pole yesterday in the Camping World Truck Series race, finished inside the top 10, hoping for a better effort today. Under caution for the third time, a hard hit in turn 2 here at Dover. NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Dover on Fox is sponsored by Colonel Sanders, Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's still finger-licking good.
Been a busy afternoon here in Dover, and we're only 68 laps in, under caution currently. If you're just joining us, let's get you caught up. And all Roush Fenway front row, Bubba Wallace, they're sharing some tips with teammate Chris Buescher. They started out front, and then Larry, early lap 3 trouble.
Yeah, this is a little retaliation. Ryan Sieg in the 39 trying to spin Jamie Dick out in that 55. Ryan Sieg pays the price and brings the first caution out.
Matt Kenseth in the 20, a Cup star running Xfinity and loose wheel lap 33.
Yeah, but what he did on that caution that came out at lap 56, they stayed out, took the wave around. He's back on the lead lap.
And here's an incident which just brought out the caution. We're under currently a 3-lap wreck, and Brian Scott getting the worst of it.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney and Brian Scott battling for 8th right there, and you're also going to see Jamie Dick in the 55 come in and just hit Brian Scott. The good news, all drivers were okay.
Brian Scott's day ending early. Not the same for our current leader, Eric Jones, who turned 19 years old today. Adam, that would just be icing on the cake, right, if he got his first win here at Dover this afternoon.
And if he was able to win today, be the first driver ever to win on his birthday in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. But you said it, Danielle, under caution for the 3rd time today. An incident in turn 2. Ryan Blaney involved Brian Scott. And then, as they said, Jamie Dick came in late, hitting Brian Scott there.
Yeah, the way they exited turn 2, it just opened the door for Brian Scott. He's able to get a run on Blaney, who got sideways. But Kevin, as they got down toward turn 1, it looked like maybe you can see the cars approaching turn 1. There's the 2 cars we're talking about. And as they race toward turn 1, it almost looks like Scott doesn't take an arc for the corner.
Yeah, I know initially we said it was probably Ryan turning down and didn't recognize him there, but it definitely looks like the 2 car was going straighter than what it probably needed to be going in the corner, and they just kind of collided. So,
and when you race at 160 miles an hour down into the corner, we're talking a couple of feet makes a difference in making a corner or not, and it just was there wasn't a couple feet there.
So we've had 2 late lead changes in the early going. Darrell Wallace Jr. starts on the pole, leads the first 40-plus laps. Austin Dillon then got the top spot. Eric Jones won a battle off of pit road. Who do we like in the early going here?
Well, I think when you look at the up front, you see the 6 car running well. I think you see the 33. That's the car that's eating the bottom. But all I can say is the monster's eating them up today.
It is doing that. I like what Eric Jones is doing. I know it's his birthday. No one's ever won on that day, but he's making an adjustment. That car's getting better and better. He might be the man.
Okay, so Eric Jones is out front. He's going to have a restart in a moment. Those have been interesting today. 3rd caution of the afternoon, a big impact for Brian Scott and Jamie Dick. So if you watch NASCAR on Fox, and in particular the Xfinity Series, you hear a lot about Daniel Suarez. Who is this kid? 23 years old from Monterrey, Mexico. I guess you could say he was born to race. Got it done in his homeland, and he's been very competitive since coming to the States. 3 career wins in the K&N Pro Series East Division. And then he signed a year ago to come ride for Joe Gibbs Racing, running a limited schedule for Kyle Busch in the Camping World Truck Series. Everywhere he goes, he's good on track. He also enjoys a little local sushi, and so far, so good today, running inside the top 10 in the 7th position. One of the 4 drivers eligible for our Dash for Cash. He finishes the best among those. He will get a bonus $100,000. Right now, Darrell Wallace Jr. leading in that category. And you too could win $100,000 via the Dash for Cash. Go to NASCAR.com/Dash for Cash to enter. Let's go to Chris Neville.
Adam, Brian Scott just released from the Infield Care Center. And Brian, you took a big hit by Jamie Dick out there, but it all started before that. What happened between you and Ryan Blaney?
Yeah, the 22 is kind of out of control, and he got real loose off of 4, so I got to run on his inside going into turn 1. And I feel like he just didn't give me any room. I feel like I went in there and he was stuck to my door, and it caused me to just suck around. Yeah, as soon as I tried to turn down in the corner, I was loose. Sucks. I guess it's a product of restarts here at Dover. We were so yeah, that one hurt. But it was great to have Acme and Craft Singles on board. We obviously wanted to give them a lot better run for everybody. We have a big group here, so I got to say thank you to them. And hopefully we'll have a better day tomorrow in the Cup Series.
Yeah, tough weekend in Charlotte, tough weekend in Dover.
And if they can't get back out, it would be the 3rd DNF of 2015 for Brian Scott.
You know, I feel like I watch these races every week, and I just feel like Brian's going to break through at some point. The car's fast. Those guys are doing good. He's got a lot of experience, and I feel like they're going to get to victory lane soon.
Yeah, he leads laps. He runs up front. He's been close to winning, obviously, and I, too, am a big fan of Brian Scott's and think he will get to victory lane this year.
Brennan Poole, free pass on this, our 3rd caution of the day, but we're going back green. Complete lap 74. Eric Jones out front.
You heard Brian Scott say the car on the outside just sucked him around. That's where Bubba Wallace is right now. It's really tough to run down there. I hope he can hold it off of him. I think he got loose off 2 and lost his momentum, and that gave Jones the lead.
Regan Smith outside lane, sliding up for 3rd. Inside of him, the 33 of Austin Dillon. Red and black 60 is Chris Buescher, the championship leader, but he's got Casey Kane to his left.
Casey Kane's making a charge here. He kind of ran back half of the top 10 to start the race, but now he's starting to move forward. Watch this 88 car. He'll be tough all afternoon.
Look at Brendan Gaughan behind him. Haven't talked a lot about the 62 today.
Yeah, it's amazing how much it got shook up there on the pit stops. We see the 18 back a little bit, and I think you see the guys with experience that are able to make up time in between those pit lines and keep themselves in a good position.
Jerry McClements. Look at Clements up there, Adam. He's able to hold off Chase Elliott up on the high side. Clements just does such a great job with his limited resources. Sideways, hanging onto that baby. It's going to open the door for Kenseth on the bottom.
And I really thought Matt Kenseth was going to be a car that could contend to win this race today. And you're already seeing him back up to 12th position, and he's going to make his way through the field. So we're not even halfway yet. So hopefully he can get back into this thing, because I think he can contend for the win.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday. I think if you make a mistake in the first half of this race, you can overcome that and win. But anything past halfway, things go by so quickly. The competition's so tough. It would be hard to get to victory lane if you had a loose wheel or you got a speeding penalty on pit road after halfway.
Yeah, because it just takes time. It takes time to get back through the field. It takes time to work your way through traffic, and then you look up and the leader's out there 10 seconds in front of you, and you feel like your car's really fast, but in order to catch back up, you have to have a caution. So that's what it's going to take for Matt. But based upon how things have gone today, I believe a caution shouldn't be much of a problem.
Let's give some credit to the 20 pit crew. He came down pit road, made an unscheduled stop, and only lost 1 lap. That's not easy to do here at Dover. That opened the door to take the wave around and be back on the lead lap, and now you see him driving through the field, 1 time down a lap outside the top 20. He's 11th right now.
And that's a major accomplishment to only lose 1 lap here, because usually at Dover you come in for a green flag pit stop, and it happens every time, every year during a cup race. You come in, you have a pit stop, you lose 2 laps, and your day's done.
Another amazing accomplishment to me is the 51. I talked about Jerry McClements earlier. He just drove away from Chase Elliott. We saw Matt Kenseth make the move around Clements, but he's hanging right in there, running in the 12th position. It's a great run for this young man.
enters the day 11th in points, and that's the best of any driver in the Xfinity Series. When you talk about someone that doesn't have a Cup affiliation, impressive what they do, that team out of Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Ty Dillon's closing in on the back of this battle between Brendan Gaughan and Daniel Suarez. Ty was fast off the truck yesterday in that first practice session. Kind of struggled in qualifying today. Now he's rebounded to run inside the top 10 and battling with Suarez.
Yeah, and those boys better look in their mirror, because here comes Kenseth. You see him sliding around back there. He's on a little bit older tires than the rest of the guys in front of him, but he's eating the bottom up, and he's able to make a lot of time through the bottom of the corner.
And you know what? It looks to me, and I just looked at our scoring monitor, Kenseth pitted at lap 32 unscheduled. The reason he's driving through the field, based on our scoring monitor, says that he came down at lap 71, which would have been his second stop of the day. Now, the bad news there would be that he doesn't have only one set of tires left. You think he just maybe took fuel only, Michael?
That's a possibility. We'll have to check with our pit reporters, but if he had fresher tires, I think he would be really driving through these guys, and he's just sort of making his way slowly through the field. So chances are he just puts a little fuel in her.
But the fact that he has fuel could pay big dividends here if this long green flag runs continues, because it gives Mike Wheeler some options in regard to strategy.
Well, and if you think about it, when we've had a caution, a couple laps later we've had another caution. Now that we've gotten past the restart and guys have strung out, you do hear and see a lot of green flag runs here at Dover.
Matt Kenseth back inside the top 10, 85 laps complete.
Just let me know on fuel if I need to save you some. It's early. We can still win this thing. Yeah, I'm with you, bud. I'm with you. Just be smart with the throttle. We got a long way, so.
That's right. Matt Kenseth is confident. He knows he's got a good car underneath him.
Well, and that goes back to you talking about the mistakes that you make early in a race. You know that you still have a chance. If you make that mistake with 50 laps to go, your day is over. And now he's actually in a better spot, because he can talk about fuel, he can talk about tires, and he has a lot more options.
You know who's been great today? Regan Smith. He wants that Dash for Cash $100,000. He's won it before. Think about last week. I mean, they struggled all day long, but he and Jason Burdett got that thing fixed up. He ends up inside the top 5 at Charlotte, and here he is riding third after starting 10th, but he may not stay there long, being hunted by that 33 of Austin Dillon.
Austin hasn't changed his game plan. We talked about at the top of the show how this groove will move around and you'll have to adapt and adjust. Austin said, nuh-uh, my car is going to run right next to the bottom of the track all day long, and he's really strong down there, looking to take the spot away from Regan Smith.
Yeah, and I think when you look at Austin, you look at that pit road thing that we talked about earlier. Austin came in leading. The car in the first pit stall has a huge advantage here. The 54 car is right on a great timing line, and he came out fourth. And this is a great example of how long it takes to pass cars. Even though we know that 33 car is probably faster than that 7 car by a tenth and a half, 2 tenths, it just takes time to capitalize on the right situation. But I think the more we watch this battle, the more it makes me want to go have some ice cream.
Yeah, that's our double dipper, Regan Smith. I'm with you all the way. You can see Chris Buescher now closing up to the back of Smith.
We were talking about Matt Kenseth and strategy. Last time they pitted lap 71. What do you see with what they're doing here, Larry Mack?
Well, if there's one driver, Adam, with 111 laps to go that wants to see long green flag runs, it's Matt Kenseth, because when he came to pit road at lap 71, they put another set of sticker Goodyear. So right now, as far as laying in the pits, Matt Kenseth, that 20 team, one set of sticker tires. So they need this thing to go for long green runs right now.
Well, I think 2 things might happen there. I think that the one option that they have is to glue those tires back up. If they get a quick caution, they can either put those tires back on or they have to stay out. So they definitely put themselves in a little bit of a box, but I think at this point they're just trying to win a race.
Yeah, and when you make a mistake, you got to try to overcome it. They felt the best way to do that is, like you said, Adam, throw 4 tires at it and hope for the best, and that's where they're at right now.
He's worked his way back to 9th in the running order. We're 9 laps shy of the halfway point. Matt's teammate Eric Jones is out front. Darrell Wallace Jr. is second. Austin Dillon is third. Regan Smith is fourth. Championship leader Chris Buescher completes the top 5. NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Dover on Fox is sponsored by Toyota, Let's Go Places, and by Castrol GTX Magnatech. Instant protection from the moment you start. New man in charge of the field in today's Buckle Up 200, presented by Click It or Ticket. The man that started on the pole and led the first 42 laps. Darrell Wallace Jr. is on point once again here at Dover.
Watch this move, Adam. On the high side, he's able to get to the top and make his way around Eric Jones. We've seen all the passes, quality passes, made down on the bottom. Bubba said, I can do it anywhere.
Yeah, and I think when you look at turns 3 and 4 down here, when you see the exit, you're starting to see the bottom get really black. And what happens is the front starts to slide.
Spinning two, yellow's out, yellow.
Problem in turn 2, fourth caution of the afternoon. We only had 4 cautions total in the 2 races here a year ago. And the reason for the caution, the 39 of Ryan Sieg, who's had a couple of issues today.
He has that.
Was running just outside the top 20, actually scored 19th, 1 lap down when he went around.
Oh, that's another example of getting loose on the inside of another car, racing alongside David Starr there. Wow, Brendan Poole really does a nice job of slipping under the spinning Sieg and missing the crash.
So Larry, 99 to go, just past halfway. What does this do for Matt Kenseth's strategy?
Well, this makes this box smaller. And I heard Kevin talking earlier about clean air. I think with 26 laps on their tires, very possibly they roll the dice even more so here and stay out, because 1 set of sticker tires laying in the pits and 90-something laps to go.
Well, and they're not in their window. If you pit here, you know you're going to have to come again unless we have a ton of cautions. So you stay out and save those tires. And then if there is a late race caution, you come down pit road and you're on a level playing field with everyone else with that set of tires there.
Yeah, I think you just have to take your lumps at this particular point, stay out and take the track position and see where you fall.
Kevin, how hard is that going to be, Matt Kenseth, on those old tires, if he indeed does stay out in front of this pack? It's going to be really difficult, Chris. What are they doing on pit road?
Well, crew chief Jason Burdett telling Regan Smith that after about 25 laps, he's one of the quickest cars on the racetrack. But Regan Smith still saying the back end of the car getting away from him. He needs the 7 tightened up. Vince.
For the championship leader, Chris Buescher, he pits from 5th place, says the car's just too free on throttle. He's got an open pit box. He is in. They're going to put a wedge adjustment in the left rear, 4 tires. Jamie.
Austin Dillon's car was good. He said, I'm just going to drive my butt off, guys. It was only a 4-tire stop last time. Look for the same this time. Eric Jones saying he doesn't want to hurt the short run. The car was pretty good, but he liked the last change. That was the track bar adjustment. And the 6 said he needs a little bit more turn through the corner, but it got better as he ran.
So Darrell Wallace Jr. losing positions on the pit lane. And how about the call for Ty Dillon? 2 tires. He wins the battle off of pit road.
What the...
NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Dover on Fox is sponsored by Game of War. Play free now. Big time for all of us here at Fox Sports, and it all begins next weekend. 1 week from today, our Women's World Cup coverage. The 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup. The host Canada taking on China Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Then next Monday night, a big one for the United States, going against Australia, 6:30 Eastern. That's on Fox Sports 1. We got games all weekend. Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, and here on Fox. So we're just past halfway in today's event here at Dover, Delaware for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Matt Kenseth leads, and Regan Smith picked up position once again.
Yeah, and he's pitted in the last pit box, so he's able to come into the pit stall really hard. He's able to get out of traffic, and then you can run a little bit quicker in that curve just the way that they figured time. So the 7 team's doing a great job on pit road.
He's going to restart third. On the front row with Matt Kenseth, who stayed out, is Ty Dillon, who got 2 tires. Eric Jones restarts fourth. Darrell Wallace Jr. was the race leader. He goes in the 5th position.
This front row could be a bit of a roadblock. I like Kenseth's line, and I like Ty having 2, but they're holding off. They're holding their own.
Yeah, I really feel like Matt's in an okay spot here just because he has the 3 car on 2 tires. The 54 car has obviously been good, and you have the 7 who's been a little bit off the pace compared to the leaders. So I feel like Matt can create a little bit of a buffer for himself to get some track position and minimize the damage at this point.
And the experience and the knowledge that Matt Kenseth has, he knows it's time to run some of his best laps of the day to try to gap this field and get that advantage that you talked about.
And he probably will because of that clean air. There's no lap traffic. He's going to be out by himself, and we're going to see really what his car is made of right now.
Let me just tell you something that just happened. There's a lot of crew chiefs that are going to be watching this race right now, and you're liable to have to stay out on 26-lap tires tomorrow because what Matt Kenseth is able to do on those used tires right now. He just ran his fastest lap of the day and one of the fastest laps of the race on old tires at the front of the field.
Oh, by the way, he's won here twice in the Xfinity Series, twice in Sprint Cup. He's pretty good when it comes to Dover. That doesn't hurt either. 2 tires against 4. 2 for Ty Dillon on his pit stop. 4 for Eric Jones. There goes the 54 waiting in line behind him. Regan Smith, who also got 4 tires.
It's a bold move to cut a guy off like that, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not big on the blocking stuff, but I think for me, 2 tires when you know that you have 100 laps left here to run at Dover, that's a tough situation to put yourself in. It's like, Matt's out there on no tires, the air pressures are all built up the same, and then you just get that car a little bit out of balance when you put 2 tires on here at Dover. So that's a late race move that's probably going to be tough to deal with as you go a long run.
So Kenseth on the restart has jumped out. His advantage now almost 2 seconds over his teammate Eric Jones. And Jones knows all about 2 tires. That's what he did on his final stop yesterday in the Truck Series race. It got him out front for 50 laps, but unfortunately as the laps wound down, he lost the top spot and eventually finished 3rd.
These cars are all bunched up behind Ty Dillon. Looked like Regan Smith and Ty Dillon made slight contact. Golly, Suarez loose on the inside of Bubba. Or excuse me, that was Casey Kane loose on the inside of Bubba. This battle, all you can see, Ty Dillon starts this bunch of cars, and he's holding everybody up a little bit, and these guys are getting really racy.
Here's Kane looking inside of Bubba again. Right behind him, Austin Dillon, who's led laps today. And right behind that group, the 60 of Chris Buescher. Came in leading the championship, qualified on the front row. Right now scored 8th.
And Bubba's just trying like crazy right now because he knows that he's faster than the 7 car was before that pit stop. He knows that 3 car has 2 tires, and he knows he needs to hold Casey Kane off because Austin Dillon's right behind him. So everything he can do to not give up another position and work his way around traffic is what he's trying to do.
How frustrating is it for Austin Dillon, the fastest car on the track? Every time he comes to pit road, he's got cars ahead of him, and he has to make his way through that traffic.
Yeah, and that's just the crazy thing about Dover. You get onto pit road, and I think the 54 has the best pit stall aside from the 6. I think the 54 has the best pit stall timing line wise, and he's been able to capitalize on it.
Buescher has dropped back to 9th, and there's a reason why. Last time around, into the wall, racing with Daniel Suarez here.
Suarez gets to the inside and just gets Buescher loose. How hard does he hit it? Oh.
Just kissed it.
That'll be okay, right?
And I tell you, sometimes in these cars, they're very round on the side. Sometimes if you can hit them just right and you can get that quarter panel a little bit flatter and you can get the top of it a little less round, sometimes they run faster because it makes a little bit more side force, so we'll see.
That pass, Regan Smith around Ty Dillon, could be a $100,000 pass. Both of them eligible for our Dash for Cash today. Right now, 3rd and 4th on track behind the Joe Gibbs Racing teammates, Kenseth and Eric Jones. How about a little mid-race reset with our pit reporters? We start things off in the leaders pit with Chris Neville.
What a day for Matt Kenseth. Had that loose left rear wheel early on, went down a lap. Well, now he's back on the lead lap, leading this race. He said that car a little bit tight early on, loose later in the run. Jamie?
And Eric Jones running second right now, started the day 6th. The birthday boy has just been loose, but it's been manageable. In that last stop, they made another track bar adjustment, Chris.
Regan Smith, he was just pretty frustrated on the radio with Ty Dillon in front of him. Said he was blocking him, but Regan Smith right now very happy with his race car. Right behind him, Ty Dillon fading a little bit. He only took 2 tires on that last stop. That car tight in qualifying, tight in the race. Vince?
Well, the 88 of Casey Kane has been fighting loose throughout the course of the day, but they've been working at it. Took a pretty big swing at it that last time, trying to tighten it up. Remember, the 88 has 2 wins this season with our man in the booth, Kevin Harvick. We'll see if Casey Kane can get him there. Jamie?
And Bubba Wallace started on the pole, told me at the start of the race his biggest fear was losing spots on pit road. They've lost 5 total today. He said it's very hard to make it up on the track. It's been a fast car, but now he's back in traffic. Behind him, Austin Dillon, the man has been on a mission. The fastest car on the racetrack in 2 pit stops. They haven't made a single change. Just put 4 tires on. He's driving his butt off, and those are his words.
Well, it's been an impressive run for the 18 of Daniel Suarez. Remember, this is his first time ever here in Xfinity Series. He ran the truck last night and finished 2nd. He has adapted well, but right now he just can't get it to turn. Remember, he finished 2nd on the concrete at Bristol. This is the same car, hopes to be moving up. Right behind him is the 60 of Chris Buescher. He comes in as our points leader, and remember, 5 laps ago, he got into the wall a little bit. We haven't heard from Chris as to the fact that it might be affecting his car in an ill way. They've just been trying to work on it and make it better throughout the course of the day. Solid so far for Chris Buescher. Adam?
It's been a solid season so far for Chris Buescher. Got that first win a couple of weeks ago in Iowa. The battle there for position. Darrell Wallace Jr., the inside of Ty Dillon. Wallace, our pole sitter, back inside the top 5.
And here comes Austin Dillon around his brother Ty. He makes that move work on the bottom. So Austin's creeping his way to the front of the pack. But Kevin, we talked about it earlier. You get behind after halfway, it's really hard to make all that up. And that's where Austin Dillon, the fastest car of the first half of the race, finds himself right now.
These teams are going to have to make one more pit stop today. 79 laps to go. It's Matt Kenseth out front. He's been there for 19 laps today at Dover.
All right, buddy, you crank it up when you're ready.
Boy, that's a nice save by the 55.
And we're getting tight, late center, and I'm scared to death.
I don't know what he was doing. He just poured us into one. Yeah, he arced into you, got you pretty good, then he got sideways and turned right into you.
It has been an entertaining day at the Monster Mile for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, proudly supporting our military for 100 years. Show your support for our troops at Goodyear.com. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR.
And Goodyear has done an amazing job with this tire. It's a different left side tire. It's rubbering up the track, making there multiple grooves in the corners. And Matt Kenseth is on 26 lap older tires than anyone else, runs his best lap of the day. Kevin, we were talking during the break, a lot of strategy getting ready to set in here if the caution flies at the right time.
Yeah, and I think that 20 car has made the strategy more confusing because now he's out front, so you see the fact that I think he's just got a great race car, but I think everybody else sees him staying out on tires, and now they're looking at strategy and saying, well, we just need track position to hold these guys off. So it's definitely going to get interesting because if there is a caution, it's going to come late, and if there isn't a caution, it's going to be a late green flag pit stop.
Everyone has to pit at least one more time, Larry. What do you see when you make your calculations for the stretch run?
Yeah, this could get interesting because Matt Kenseth in that 20, they were last on pit road at lap 71. The Sunoco fuel window is about 80 to 90 laps. So somewhere about lap 155 to 160, he has to come to pit road. Now everyone else pitted at 102 with 98 to go. Fuel window 80 to 90 laps. We never thought Carl Edwards in the Sprint Cup Series race could go 62 laps at Charlotte. I'm not sure somebody out there is thinking, can we make it without stopping should we stay green?
Wow, that'd be 98 laps. That's a long way to go.
And as good as these tires are, Adam, it opens up even more strategy because if you only got to go 8 laps, we're talking just a splash of fuel late, and we know how long this pit road is, and we've talked about what slow pit road speed you have to run. So just trying to get on and off pit road might play into part of this equation as well. A lot of things going on.
4 different drivers today have led at least 15 laps. The most, Darrell Wallace Jr., who started on the pole and has led 45 today, Jamie.
Well, and now that he's back in fifth, things are getting a little heated under the helmet.
For next race. 10-4, bud, you got what you got today. Go get him here. You got a fast car. But I can't do anything with it.
You said this place can beat you up over the long haul off the top, Kevin.
Well, he's frustrated because he knows how fast his car is. And you know, you heard the pep talk, and we talked a little bit about it in the booth earlier. You heard the pep talk, but you could hear the concern as well. They knew that they had trouble on pit road, and now he's frustrated because they've talked about it. They've had it happen. And now you're starting to see him get frustrated because he's not winning the race where he thinks he should be. So it's a tough spot to be in, but definitely got to love Darrell because he voices his opinion.
And, you know, I was going to say that. We saw him at the start of practice yesterday. They ran a few laps. My car's terrible. Fix it. And then after that, they fixed it, and he was the happiest guy in town. Started this race very confident, led a lot of laps, took the lead. I'm sure he was equally as happy then, and now just frustration has set it in. And you talked about how tough this place is mentally on you, bouncing around, slipping and sliding. It just all adds up.
It does add up, and you have to love that enthusiasm out of him, though, because he wants to win. And as a race driver, if you don't want to win, you're not going to win. But he has that confidence, he has that swagger, and I know people say, well, you shouldn't treat his team like that. But you know what? Sometimes that's a good reality check for everybody to know that he cares and everybody else cares, and we got to get better because he's doing his job.
And I think as crew members, you understand what happens in the heat of the moment. What he said there on the radio, heat of the moment in the car, out there in competition. And right now, he's getting ready to really heat up the moment because Austin Dillon's right behind him and trying to take away that 5th spot.
It probably sounds about the same in Austin Dillon's helmet, too, as many spots as he's given up on pit road.
You know, we're about 10 or 15 laps away from the man out front having to come to pit road. It might happen when we come back. 60 to go here at Dover for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Xfinity Series racing from Dover on Fox is sponsored by XFINITY, the official entertainment provider of NASCAR. Join NASCAR as we salute our veterans and active military members using the hashtag NASCAR salutes or visiting NASCAR.com/salute. 53 laps remaining today here in Dover, Delaware for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Matt Kenseth is the race leader. His advantage over second place Eric Jones, now 0.3 of a second. And we know, because he got out of sequence early due to a loose wheel, that Matt Kenseth is going to have to make a pit stop very soon. And Eric Jones said, you go ahead and make your pit stop. I would like to be back out front.
And he's closing in that traffic. What a strong run for Jones. He's able to run Kenseth down.
I said it earlier, but what about this 54 team recently? Denny Hamlin, a runner-up last week, very strong in the late going, had the lead, and then Austin Dillon able to get back by him. New driver this week, making his first start at Dover. Same old result. Here's Eric Jones knocking on the door of the lead on his 19th birthday.
Well, those guys, that's just a really strong organization, and obviously this car has been really strong, and not having Kyle in the car at the beginning of the year to help get the new guys on the team sorted out kind of slowed that progress down, but they've got it.
Where are they at right now, Jamie?
Well, something that's really helped them today is they have Kyle Busch's Cup team pitting them as always, getting the job done and making up spots on pit road. As far as the race car right now, he said it's pretty good. He's getting just a little bit loose on the exit of one of the corners, but he said he's happy.
And this would be a fitting place for this team to get their first win of the year, because Kyle swept the 2 races here a season ago. It'd be a nice victory for everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing, the all-time leader when it comes to wins in the Xfinity Series right here at Dover.
It's been a great weekend so far for Joe Gibbs Racing. Obviously, Denny Hamlin getting the pole and being really fast in both practice sessions today, and now 2 of his cars first and second. But continuing to march toward the front is the 33 car of Austin Dillon. He's caught Casey Kane for the 4th spot, so don't count him out yet. There's still some players left in this game.
Yeah, and I think when you look at how far he is behind, I mean, he's 3 seconds behind, but we're pretty sure that Kenseth's going to have to pit here shortly. So I think that's not as far behind as I thought he would have been, but I still think that he definitely has the fastest car.
How much mental patience do you have to have at a place like Dover?
Hit this time. I think the leader's coming.
So we'll watch Kenseth when he comes to pit road. And this would be a scheduled green flag pit stop. Last time he came, lap 71, and that's teammate Eric Jones behind him in the black 54 that will take over the top position.
How about our crew chief, Larry McReynolds? He called him right to pit road about lap 154. Smokes her down, tries to get down to pit road speed. This is his 2nd green flag stop of the day. Obviously, the earlier one was unscheduled, so he's used to that pit road speed. You have this. Chris, what's happening?
Well, we saw Matt Kenseth locking up that left front, coming to pit lane. He said the car in clean air, a little bit tight in the center, in dirty air, a little bit loose into the corner, but he said very small adjustments. That's all he wants.
And now the question becomes, when does everybody else come to pit road?
You saw Eric Jones come across the start-finish line, lapping Matt Kenseth as he goes down into turn 1. But you got to watch, Kevin, some of these rookies, some of these young racers trying to make a green flag pit stop here on this really tough pit road could become a factor as well.
Yeah, because it's just so easy to slide the tires. You saw Matt, and he's really good at it, and obviously he had a good sense of what that speed needed to be. But as soon as you get onto the flat down there, that left front tire wants to start locking up, and you can't stop it from locking up. So it's real easy to speed here, and you forget how slow you need to go here. And you're going so fast on the racetrack, it's hard to get down to pit road speed.
Michael, you mentioned Kenseth lost a lap. He scored 18th. The 3rd car 1 lap down.
Larry McReynolds, you did a great call there getting Matt Kenseth to pit road. What are these guys leading the race now going to do with Kenseth running such fast times and still having to come to pit road? Are they going to stay out and just get a little gas, or will they come get 4?
Yeah, I think we're to the point of the race, you know, that Miles the Monster is just sitting there lurking with a caution. I don't think you can afford to come to pit road too early, regardless of what happens with that 20.
And the last caution in these races a year ago at Dover, lap 149 and 150. So you would think we're right around that time when you would get your final caution in the race. So Eric Jones is the race leader. Got his first career victory earlier this season at Texas, just like Ryan Reed, who got his first checkered flag season opener at Daytona. The Bakersfield, California is 12th right now. We talked to him earlier about the challenges he has faced racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Racing Xfinity Series, especially this year, you know, there's so many young drivers and there's so much, there's just so much competitiveness out there week in, week out. It's a blast, but at the same time, it gets very challenging. And then, you know, for me, especially over the last 4 years since I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, it can definitely add a little bit of extra race day pressure, and that's something that some of the guys don't have to deal with. And you know, it's like I said, something I got used to, but it can be a lot of pressure sometimes.
I just can't help but look at that car, Kevin standing next to me, and think about how he was practically cheering him to the checkered flag. A big win for everyone in Bakersfield when Ryan Reed got the win earlier this season at Daytona. .33 laps to go for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at the Monster Mile here, Dover International Speedway. Eric Jones is the race leader as we take a look at our Castrol GTX Magnatech race summary. 13 cars on the lead lap, 5 lead changes among 4 different leaders, and how about this? 3 different drivers have led 40-plus laps today. Green flag pit stops coming up. Eric Jones continues his drive through the field. Just went around the 16 of Ryan Reed. The 12th place car is now 1 lap down, 26 laps remaining, and the big question becomes, when does everyone come to pit road for that final pit stop?
This is so fun, man. There's so many different strategies. Will they get 2 tires? Will they not get any? How soon do the guys pit?
Huh. I don't know. I mean, there's a possibility that somebody could just stay out and try to make it on fuel mileage. You have Kenseth back there making up 3 or 4 tenths a lap, so how far ahead of these guys will he be? There's a lot going on here that's kind of hard for me to all figure out in my brain.
That's why you have a crew chief, right? Yeah. They tell you what to do.
What are they saying in the leaders camp?
Hey, I don't know. We did 2 yesterday in the truck race. I don't know if you got any data on that. You know what you need to shoot for air pressure-wise for that little bit of laps, but I don't know what you got.
Yep, 10-4. I'm good with it.
Well, they're thinking about 2 tires. That's a couple of seconds, maybe 4 or 5 seconds, and he'll need every one of those to hold off Matt Kenseth.
Go ahead, Jamie. What do you got?
And I just asked the team when they were going to pit, and at the time they said about 17 laps. So that would be about lap 187. They will need to pit. The guys have their helmets on. They're ready to go. Meanwhile, the 33 should be pitting in about 5 laps if their radio was correct.
Well, I think the 33 and the 6 also of Bubba Wallace are hoping for maybe some green flag pit stops because they've struggled when they've all come to pit road together under caution.
What do you think about all these numbers you're hearing, Larry?
Yeah, we've got 11 drivers still on the lead lap with 22 to go. And listening to our pit reporters, I think they're spot on. If you're going to pit, once we get to about lap 182 with 18 to go, if you're going to pit, I think you start thinking about making that stop. But if we see any drivers at all still out there after lap 190 with 10 to go, I think that's the driver that's going to try to stretch it to the end.
Larry, 2 tires, fuel only. I mean, what are your options here?
Well, I think if you're going to come here with about 18 to go, I think maybe go ahead and get 2 right side tires. If you're going to stretch it on to 10 to go, all you want to do is just stop long enough just to dump a little bit of fuel in that thing.
The length of pit road and the slow pit road speed is what's so challenging, Adam. If anyone has any aspirations of making it all the way, they're going to have to be rolling off the fuel, rolling off the gas pedal, really saving gas.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's going to come into play here is Matt Kenseth's experience getting onto pit road, because you saw him smoke that tire through that yellow line and he carried a ton of speed and got onto pit road. These other guys probably haven't done that much, and it's very, very, very hard. And especially if you don't do it right. If you do it too fast, you're in trouble.
Scheduled stop here. Brendan Gaughan, the first to come down pit road, Chris.
Yeah, Brendan Gaughan saying his car really loose all day long, but this last set of tires tighten that car up. So he's asking for some changes here. A little bit of debate whether he's going to go 2 or 4. They go 4. Vince.
The 88 of Casey Kane, they've been talking about when they're going to come, and when they come, what are they going to do? Kane is on pit road now, pitting from the 4th position. The car has just been too loose throughout much of the day. That's the issue now. They're going to make a chassis adjustment and right sides only for Casey Kane.
So one driver comes down, gets 4, another gets 2, and now Regan Smith making his scheduled pit stop, Chris.
Great run for Regan Smith today. Most of the race he complained that the car too loose, but on that last stop he said they tightened it up nice. It's going to be a short run. Jamie.
And Austin Dillon on pit road as well. They're calling for right sides only. Remember, they've lost some spots on pit road today. They haven't made a single adjustment to this race car. They'll put just enough fuel in it. Right sides it is.
Eric Jones continues on the track, 17 laps to go.
Slide if you can stay on the track, get you a good entry into the pit lane here. Got to cross that orange box.
He's too fast, Kevin. I don't see him making it.
A scheduled cycle of green flag pit stops, and here comes the leader, Eric Jones.
He slid those tires all the way through that last section there, Jamie. I don't know.
And you heard Chris Gale, the crew chief, tell Eric Jones on the left-hand side of your screen, do not lock him up. His plan was to take right sides only. But because he locked him up and smoked him, they've got to take 4 tires. They don't want to take a chance at blowing a tire this late in the race.
That hurts with 16 to go. Extra time on the pit lane. You saw Chase Elliott making his scheduled stop. He was inside the top 10. And now 1-2 for Roush Fenway. Darrell Wallace Jr. leads. Chris Buescher second. Neither has made their stop. Daniel Suarez in now, Vince.
Well, Suarez just left the pit box. He took right sides only. He's been looking for a balance adjustment throughout the course of the day. We'll see if he has anything with 15 to go.
And all of these drivers in the mix 6, 4 of them have an extra $100,000 on the line, including the guy leading right now, Darrell Wallace Jr., running for the Dash for Cash. And 1 year ago, we heard this off the top, that we had 13 speeding penalties here. Eric Jones, too fast on the pit lane when he made his stop. You guys talked about him having a hard time getting slowed down.
Yeah, he barely even made it onto pit road. And watch how far he smokes these tires. He starts before he even gets near pit road speed and slides them all the way onto pit road. And it looks like he speeds up a bit right there.
Suarez was also caught speeding, keeping in mind he's a driver in line for the Dash for Cash battle for the lead. Teammates, you're on board with Darrell Wallace Jr. Here comes Chris Buescher to the inside.
Now remember, we saw Buescher bounce off the wall sideways. That's the way this kid races. He puts it all out there. Now he's battling for the lead late in the going. Look at the side of that Ford Mustang. It's all beat up, but he's going for the lead.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. Sometimes it helps these cars, but I think when you think about Roush Fenway Racing, you think about fuel mileage. And I'd say if there's a couple cars that might be able to make it, it might be these Fords.
Now there goes Brendan Gaughan on fresher tires. He's made his pit stop. Wallace and Buescher have not. They're 1-2. Next guy in line, 1 lap down, is Matt Kenseth. So when they come down pit road, we'll see where they come off the pit lane. 12 to go, and there's Kenseth right now trying to unlap himself as he goes inside of Chris Buescher.
But how can those guys get 12, 15 miles more out of a tank of gas, Kevin? That's a long way.
When are they coming, Jamie?
Well, Chad Norris, the crew chief, said they were going to be about 4 laps short, so he just asked his driver, oh my gosh, he almost goes around. Darrell Wallace Jr. said, how are we doing on fuel? He said, I don't know, bud, I've never done this before, you tell me.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I don't know how soon they started talking about that, but there's a lot of things you can talk about to save fuel. Vince?
Well, Chris Buescher, they talked to Chris about starting to save with 20 to go, and at that point they said we're 2 laps short. That's doable here. Teammates getting together. Chris Buescher passing Bubba Wallace. Wallace with a great save, Adam.
New race leader, and Darrell Wallace Jr. might have damage on that left front. He might have to come next time around to avoid blowing a tire. And as we watch all this, we also heard Daniel Suarez caught speeding on pit road when he made his pass-through penalty for speeding the first time. His hopes at victory today are gone.
That's a second pop into the side of the 6 that the 60s put on him. A couple laps before that contact we saw there. Watch him try to get into a hole that just isn't there. Turns his teammate sideways a bit, but then the second time he just loses control of his car down on the bottom. Watch this run, Kevin.
Yeah, I'd say that the leaning in the window and all that happy-go-lucky stuff from qualifying is all out the window as we're racing for a win here.
Down to 8 laps to go, and the Roush Fenway cars stay on track, running 1-2. Chris Buescher now 2.8, 3.3 seconds in front of Bubba, who was trying to come to pit road and couldn't get there.
Yeah, his tire was flat before he even got to pit road from the damage.
So he stays on the bottom of the track. This is going to cost Darrell Wallace Jr. Meanwhile, Chris Buescher continues. He'll come around, seeing 6 laps to go. He might be trying to stretch it on fuel here.
He is trying. He's letting off really early. You can see Austin Dillon going around him there. He backed off halfway down the back straightaway. I thought at first he was out of gas, but I guess he's just saving fuel. He's got to make it another 5-6 miles, though. That's a long way.
Yeah, and unless they started a whole lot sooner, they're gonna have to slow down more than a 26 flat, because I think with the lead that he's got, he needs to slow down.
What do you see here, Larry?
Yeah, I mean, all they need to worry about right now with Darrell Wallace Jr. coming to pit road is looking at that 20-second lead that they have on Matt Kenseth. They need to slow him way down with 5.5 laps to go.
And now 5 laps to go as Buescher comes by the start-finish line.
Coast on the back. Coast on the back.
Well, they slowed down 4 more tenths right there, so I mean they're definitely in fuel conservation mode.
I'd like to see 4 more seconds. I mean, I think that's almost what he's going to have to do if he's going to make it, and he's got that room to give.
Yeah, you do the math. He's got that kind of cushion, a 20-second advantage, and he'll see 4 laps to go when he comes to start-finish line this time.
Man, but he took his teammate right out of contention to do the same thing with a very aggressive pass.
And keeping in mind, Darrell Wallace Jr., his teammate, was in line when it comes to that Dash for Cash money. The top spot now goes to Regan Smith, trying to get $100,000. He scored in the 3rd position.
Yeah, and if I was Chris Buescher's crew chief, I'd tell him to slow way down. All you have to do is manage that gap. I mean, he should be running 28-second laps.
3 laps to go.
I think they're with you, Kevin. They want him to lift. Get out of the gas. Save me anything you can. We just got to make, we still got a 16-second lead.
So we got the comment T2 is at the stripe now.
The advantage over Matt Kenseth now, 16 seconds. 2 miles to victory for Chris Buescher.
Coming inside here, 5 back coming inside.
Oh, man, this is the longest 2 laps of that young man's career. Thinking about winning, wondering if his teammate's going to come beat him up. I mean, there's so many things going on in his mind right now.
Just coast here. Just coast. Nothing coming. We can coast. Just coast. All good. All clear.
Have you ever coasted home to a victory, Kevin?
I've coasted home to a couple of them, but I tell you what, it is very nerve-wracking.
White flag out this time by 1 mile to his 3rd career win.
Nice and easy, Flip. Big hole behind you. Inside. Inside. All right, clear.
He can make it home from there, I believe.
Yeah, his advantage 13 seconds. He can coast it all the way to the checkered flag.
Nothing coming, just coast.
And he roughed up his teammate. He's the fuel mileage king. Checkered flag in the air. Chris Buescher, 2nd win of the year, comes at the Monster Mile.
Woo. What an exciting finish.
My heart is beating 120 miles an hour.
Oh, that was nerve-wracking. Nice job, guys. Nice job, guys. Heck yeah. Take it to him, man. That's awesome. Woo!
Came in with the championship lead, made a big statement today.
Matt Kenseth comes home in the 2nd position after his early pit stop.
Regan Smith 3rd, wins $100,000 today with a dash for cash.
How good's that feel?
And that's huge for these teams. You know, when you talk about $100,000, that is a huge influx of money that they normally don't get. So that's really awesome of Xfinity.
2nd time in his career he's won the dash for cash. 2nd time this year, Chris Buescher has had a chance to burn it down. Got the win at Iowa, does it again today, going 98 laps on that last fuel run.
You see all that smoke right there? There's going to be a similar smoke show when the driver of the 6 gets out of his car.
Frustration on so many levels today for Darrell Wallace Jr. And there you see Darrell Wallace Jr. coming down pit road. Going to be scored 17th in the final rundown today.
Both these kids racing for all they're worth. As hard as they could go late in the going trying to get the victory. You understand competition and how hard it is to win one of these things and the passions that you have to have in order to get to victory lane. And this is the move of the race that did it.
Yep, the high-sense move of the race, and this is the first time they got together.
The 2nd time looked like Chris just dove into the corner a little harder than he should have and used his teammate to straighten himself up.
Yeah, and I don't really understand exactly what was going on right there because the 6 car was really slow. So it's almost like he was in fuel mileage mode and then he realized that Chris wasn't and then sped up and just, you know, in the end, that was the pass for the win.
Finished 12th here a season ago, did Chris Buescher. Told me yesterday, I learned a lot. Came back here in the fall, finished 4th. Today, the ultimate accomplishment. Checkered flag at one of NASCAR's most difficult tracks, Dover International Speedway.
It is that. What a hard racetrack this is just to make a lap around, let alone 200 of them. Take the lead on a side-by-side battle with your teammate late. Great day for that young man.
Great race.
Ah, I loved it.
Top to bottom. What a show.
While we wait the celebration in victory lane, we hear from the man that finished 17th and had the lead late, Darrell Wallace Jr.
Yeah, we can see Bubba Wallace down here. He's got a smile on his face, but started on pole. He ran up at front. What happened there with your teammate late in the going?
It's my teammate, so I can't really say much unless I see a replay, but I asked the spotter after the race, so we got run over. So we talk about that dash for cash stuff, and we get jinxed. So glad I'm not in it for the next one. So, just and he's saving fuel there, so just run over me, and he happens to end up winning. So should be interesting Monday morning.
A lot of emotion for Darrell Wallace Jr. Plenty of emotion in victory lane as well. Let's go there now and join the celebration with Chris Buescher.
The celebration is on in victory lane as Chris Buescher wins for the second time in the last 3 weeks. But it was tough getting there. 98 laps on that last fuel run, and the contact with your teammate Bubba Wallace. He said you just ran him over. How do you explain it?
Yeah, I mean, that was a heck of a race for us. This Rash Performance Mustang was pretty decent. You know, we have a work cut out for us, and Scott made a great call there to try and stay out and make this last till the end. So it was a lot of saving fuel, and Bubba was on the same strategy, and we were able to run a lot quicker pace still. I couldn't do anything with them lift at the end of the straightaway. So, I mean, it is what it is. We got to win, and you know, it's hard when somebody runs down on you that close. I mean, I don't know. It was a fun day though. Ford did a great job. You know, Wiley X, our partners, Cheez-It and Fastenal. It's actually Luke Benner's 7th birthday today. Our patient champion from Mid-Ohio last year. So that's pretty special to us. You know, we're having a good time, and it's great to get that second Xfinity win, and you know, right here near Xfinity's headquarters. So it's quite the day for us.
How nerve-wracking was it as you were trying to stretch the fuel on that last run? Everyone else came, you stayed.
Yeah, I can't believe how slow we were having to run to be able to do it, but thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. But yeah, it's just it was cool. I mean, it was just such a slow pace there at the end. We're clutching it before the start-finish line and just letting it roll, and you know, they're just telling me just stay off the gas, and we made it to the end. Had enough for a burnout yet again, and it's just kind of reminiscent of Mid-Ohio again.
Celebrating here today in victory lane. Might be an interesting team meeting next week, but boy, they're happy right now. Chris Buescher, the winner at Dover.
And he makes himself eligible for the Dash for Cash at Indianapolis. He will join Regan Smith, who won the money today, Chase Elliott, and Brendan Gaughan running for $100,000 at the Brickyard.
Chris Buescher currently celebrating here at Dover, but Miles the Monster tough on teammates today. Let's show you how it all began. And those two teammates, Chris Buescher and Bubba Wallace, sharing the front row, sharing secrets. Bubba Wallace, though, perhaps regretting that decision, Larry.
Yeah, probably not that happy with one another about 2.5 hours later after that.
Matt Kenseth, a Cup star, we thought would be a contender, Larry, but trouble with a loose wheel early.
But he made the strategy work and came home to finish second with this 20 car.
Lap 64, your toughest wreck of the day by Miles the Monster. It would involve Brian Scott getting the brunt of this.
Yeah,
one.
and right there, I mean, you see Jamie Dick in that 55 car. Just look at the hit. I mean, Brian Scott's 2 car comes completely off the racing surface.
And some creative strategy late. Matt Kenseth, like you said, getting back on the lead lap and led 51 laps today.
Yeah, he was forced to stay out. And this was a green flag stop by Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez, his teammate. Both of them had pit road speeding penalties.
And you thought Eric Jones perhaps would go to victory lane. That wouldn't be the case. And here you see the interaction on track between those Roush teammates.
Yeah, I think Darrell Wallace said it best. It'll be an interesting teammate meeting at Roush Fenway Racing on Monday.
Chris Buescher, certainly the top teammate for Roush today. His 3rd Xfinity win, 2nd in the last 3 races. We talked about that interesting strategy for Matt Kenseth. Jamie Little standing by now.
And Matt Kenseth rebounds from a loose wheel early on to finish second. How in the world does that happen, first of all, Matt? And how'd you keep it together to bring it home second?
Well, our Research Fine Foods Camry was fast. That helped. It wasn't good to get behind early, but we were able to make that out. We were able to stay out one time because we only had a set of tires left and sort of get back on sequence. So I really thought we were going to win there. I didn't think anybody would run that many laps, and we ran as hard as we could to make up as many spots. But Chris Snuck went out on fuel, so they've been fast all year. Congratulations to him. Really wanted to win here, but it was a good day for us.
Definitely fun watching you come through the pack.
And Regan Smith running up front all day long, comes home 3rd. But Regan, the big thing, you get that Dash for Cash check for $100,000.
Yeah, that certainly takes the sting away from that 3rd. I thought we were battling for the win at the end there, and unfortunately that 60 car made it all the way, so I don't know how they did that. Well, I'll be curious to see how they did that, but nonetheless, great job by everybody at Junior Motorsports. We were not very good yesterday. They fixed the Breyer Chevy up overnight. Jason and all my guys did a phenomenal job of getting it better, making it racy. Thought we had a shot for the win, and we'll take some of XFinity's money as a consolation prize. That's okay. We're always happy about that, and man, we're going to keep fighting hard. I want to win so freaking bad right now. It's about to kill me, so we'll keep battling.
Well, here's that big check for $100,000. Jamie?
Well, Austin Dillon leads 17 laps today. You look to be the car to beat for quite some time. I know it's a frustrating day on pit road, but overall, your impressions of this day?
Just proud of my guys. We did exactly what we wanted to do, is have a tighter car, and you could see in the long runs they were super fast and drove to the front 3 or 4 times, just needed some track position. We'll get it worked out, though. Proud of my guys. Nick Harrison does a great job out here, so it's been fun. You got a bunch more races in this thing, so hopefully we get another W.
I'm sure you took some notes for tomorrow's Cup race.
Well, Eric Jones finishes 9th today. Eric, so strong in the late going. What happened coming to pit lane at that last stop?
I just missed it. We were in, it was just unfortunate. That's all I did. I missed it. I screwed up and just trying a little bit too hard and just wanted to make sure we could get out ahead of everybody, and clean air was so big today, and I thought that's what we needed. But just tough to get on pit road here. I should have practiced it. I didn't think about it during the day, but it's a shame. We had a good Monster Energy Camry, and we fought hard all day and put ourselves in a position to have a shot and led a lot of laps, but just didn't work out at the end. But we'll keep digging. We'll be back in Texas next week in the truck, and we'll go 1-1 there.
Tough break for the birthday boy there, Eric Jones. And those final few laps, Larry, you were screaming to this kid in the hotel, slow down.
Well, he had a 20-second lead with less than 10 laps to go. It's time to slow down.
He made it to the finish. More from Dover after the break. Tonight, it's baseball night in America on Fox as the Dodgers take on the Cardinals, or the Red Sox square off against the Rangers, or the Royals battle the Cubs. It all starts tonight on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1. One of the more exciting Xfinity races you just saw on Fox here from Dover. And for the third time this season, Larry, the Xfinity regular said, Cup superstars, you're not taking this one from me.
Well, and throwing the fact of Eric Jones, that's 4 out of 12. Not a bad average considering how many double-duty guys we have. That's 33%. But Eric Jones keeps dominating truck races and Xfinity Series races. Led the most laps today, but whether it's strategy or mistakes, only that win in the Xfinity Series at Texas.
Yeah, finished second in the Truck Series race last night here from Dover. Let's go down to Vince Welch.
With Brendan Gaughan, who finished 7th today. In fact, 3 RCR cars in the top 8. And not only does Brendan finish 7th, but he's also now eligible for the next Dash for Cash race, which will be at Indianapolis. How do you assess 7th place today here at Dover?
You know, the South Point Chevy was good. Shane did 4 tires in the end, so if there was a caution, we were in the catbird seat to go fast. But ran solid all day, never really had many problems. Shane did little adjustments, worked on it, and come home, 7th, RCR, ECR had a great day, but more importantly, Xfinity Dash for Cash. We're going to go to the Brickyard, which, a lot of experience there, a lot of big horsepower with ECR. I'm super excited to go there and be eligible for the 100,000 because I'd love to win it. Did you know that Jamie Little is a great little dancer?
I didn't know that. I've never seen. Were you dancing with her at some point?
No, but she's just, she was putting on a little show right here on pit road. It's pretty awesome. I got to tell you. But anyway, good day for South Point Chevy. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we should have had the sunglasses, the mirror with the sunglasses. We could have gotten a look at Jamie. But she's done dancing, and now she's got a guest. Jamie.
Well, Casey Kane was back in the 88 and brought it home 5th overall. I saw you talking to your crew chief, maybe something off a little bit with the car, but overall, how was your day?
It was all right. We passed some cars, and it's tough to pass, but we got a few. But I was just I was loose in the whole day, and we never could really get that out of it, so that made it tough. But it was a decent day for Junior Motorsports. Ragu, Chevrolet, Regan ran better than we did. He's a little better throughout all the runs. I could pace him at times, and the 33, 20, 54, but I couldn't run the whole run as fast as those guys could. So we'll look at it and hopefully be better next time.
The next time he's back in for Junior Motorsports is at Daytona, where he won the race last year.
All right, Jamie, thanks so much. Roush Fenway celebrating today their 3rd victory in 2015, only 1 last season. More from Dover after the break. Chris Buescher, your winner in the Xfinity Series this afternoon from Dover. His best career start ever was today. Began the day on the outside pole. Larry only led the final 10 laps, but got it done against his teammate when it counted.
But the call that his crew chief, Scott Graves, made to run those last 98 laps, it gets them their second win and the points lead by 15 points. If they run out of fuel, they probably leave here without the points lead.
Chris Buescher certainly turning heads. Adam got the win in Mid-Ohio last year, and that momentum certainly carrying into 2015.
And there are two sides to this story, Danielle. We celebrate the win for Chris Buescher, but here's Darrell Wallace Jr. So good today, started on the pole, led a ton of laps, but at the end he gets roughed up by his teammate. How challenging are those situations?
Well, it's going to be challenging as they move forward, because as you have cars that are capable of winning races and they start having contact with each other, it becomes tense in the shop. It becomes tense in between the teams. So I think as you look at the ownership role, and Michael, you'll be good to speak on this, you have to sit them down and say, look, you guys can't run into each other, whether you're racing for a win or whatever the case may be, because it's bad for the guys working in the shop.
You know, you need the guys to help each other. You need them to share their setups like we saw going on at the beginning of the weekend. It ended, however, much differently. So Jack Roush will have his challenges when they get together on Monday, as Bubba said. But these guys are both young professionals. They got a bright future ahead of them. They can work this out and help each other win races going forward.
The last time you were with us on a Saturday, Kevin, you won on a Sunday in Las Vegas. What'd you learn today?
Well, I learned that this track is really racy. I think as the groove has spread out through the day, you saw some guys making some time up top. So I think it's going to be a fun race. And looking at these guys after they get out of the car, they're wore out. So I better make sure I'm rested up.
And tomorrow, Harvick looking for his first career win here at Dover, Danielle.
All right, Adam, right now it's all about Chris Buescher. Second win in the last 3 races, Larry, after being winless the previous 20.
And there's Ty Dillon, who came in here second in points, had some interesting strategy changing just 2 tires. He's going to sit there and finish in the top 10 and 8.
How about Eric Jones? Led the most laps, 70 today. He finishes 9th. Bubba Wallace ends up 17th.
Really thought Elliott Sadler, you saw him way back there, thought he'd have a better run today than that.
And for the first time, that 22 car for Penske finishing outside the top 10. And right now, we have the largest championship lead of 2015 in the point standings. Chris Buescher now up 15 on Ty Dillon.
Well, it's 12 down and 21 to go, but looks like to me a 2-horse race.
We'll see the Xfinity Series again in 2 weeks at Michigan. Tonight, it's MLB on Fox beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, NASCAR coverage continues here from Dover International Speedway tomorrow with the Sprint Cup Series taking on Miles the Monster. Coverage beginning on Fox Sports 1 at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We hope to see you then.
There goes Brian Scott hard into the wall.
Teammates getting together.
Chris Buescher, second win of the year, comes in the Monster Mile.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.